Hey everyone, I wanted to come on here and talk to you quickly about something that is actually going to change your life. And I wanted to talk to you about money. So this has been a big topic for me. I have been working on my money mindset. I've been working on my wealth frequency for 10 years now. And this is something, honestly, this was probably the most difficult thing I was ever able to transcend, because there is so much programming in the matrix where we still live about money. And literally every single thing that we are taught about money while we're growing up is not only like somewhat wrong, it's fucking completely wrong. And I see so many people really desiring to become wealthy, and they're so sick of the feast and famine cycle. They're so sick of feeling like they have to work really hard for money. Like everyone is in this rat race where we're chasing money. And it's so interesting because anything you chase, you're literally repelling away from you, which is why so many people struggle to actually obtain financial freedom, because they're still operating with these broken programs about how money works. And because if you're being fully honest with yourself, look at anything that you've seen in the media, any television show that you've watched, any movie that you watch, they're always telling you that people with money are terrible people. They're always showing you that it's just a normal part of life for you to have to trade all of your time to go work for somebody, and one day you can retire and live your best life. Like, we've actually normalized the fact of being a modern day slave. And it's truly insane to me that in 2023, we still, as a collective, are believing that hard work is how we make money. When if you look at every fucking example that's out there, it proves to you that the harder you work for money, the poorer you are. And the less hard you work for money, the more you generate. The wealthiest people in the world work the least hard for money. The poorest people in the world work the hardest for money. We have been taught all of these terrible things about money, and it's literally intentional so that we are kept working for people. Like, that's what the factory schooling system is. It's a schooling system for you to become an obedient employee. We aren't taught anything about money in school. Like, literally, I remember we were taught how to balance a checkbook in 8th grade, because who in 8th grade has a checkbook? You know what I mean? And granted, of course, do people even use checkbooks anymore? I don't think so. But what I'm saying is, I was taught one thing about money in a class at a time when I didn't have fucking money. You know what I mean? And technically, all they taught you was budgeting anyway. I also was going to school to get my MBA. Like, I was in a cross program to get my MBA. And the things that I was taught about money were money management. No one taught you how to obtain the frequency of wealth. No one taught you the energetics of money. And what's so interesting to me is when we understand the energetics of money, we understand how to live as a wealthy person. That is why when people are raised wealthy, if they go into business and they lose all of their money, they gain it back so quickly. Yet when people win the lottery, they end up losing all of their money so quickly. Why? Because it's a frequency. They're either on the frequency or they're off of the frequency. And one thing that I have found is 98% of the collective is operating from a poor frequency, and they're projecting at people who are on a wealth frequency. And their projections aren't even landing on them, because they're projecting at the consciousness level and the frequency that they're at, which wealthy people are up here and they can't even receive that because they're too busy living their best fucking life and making money. And I found that a lot of people are teaching money, and a lot of women are teaching money, which is amazing, but we're still being taught money from the mind. It's all about money mindset. There's not a lot of conversation about regulating your nervous system around money. There's not a lot of conversation about actually getting into the frequency of wealth. It's always about your mind. But here's the thing, is your mind is the thing that's limited. Your mind is the thing that's been programmed incorrectly around money, around wealth, around abundance. So if we keep trying to play in the realm of the mind, that's when you're going to feel like you're just banging your head against the wall and you're not making any traction. because we're still trying to look at our money mindset, and our money mindset is what's fucked up. So instead, in my world, what we do is we get into the frequency of wealth. I teach you how to hold the frequency of wealth, and then we move and live from this place, so that we're consistently bypassing the mind. The mind doesn't get to have any say over the amount of money that we're making or the amount of money that we're receiving. If anything, we are teaching our mind to get out of the way, because when we are energetically open and when we are aligned, everything that we desire comes to us easily. The reason money doesn't come to us easily is because we have all of these limiting beliefs around money. And then when we start doing the work to become financially free, we start looking at all of our old money stories. We start looking at our past. We start looking at our current situation, and we start, doing the thing where it's like, open your bank account every day and feel wealthy, no matter how much is in there. And it's like, okay, cool. But if that works, then we would have seen by now so many more millionaires. Quite honestly, I have taken, I can't even count how many money mindset programs, how many programs I have taken on money. And it's always been about managing money, if it comes from the 3D matrix business world, or it comes down to money mindset. And I see that there's a huge divide and there's a huge gap. And that's where the majority of women and business owners are falling into. They're still struggling to make money instead of embodying a frequency of wealth, feeling safe with money, knowing that money is coming to them. So that is why I created Currency, because Currency is a program where we're not going to be talking about money mindset. And we're definitely not going to be looking at your past, because quite honestly, that doesn't help anything. This is the only moment right now. So it doesn't matter what happened in your past. It matters how you are moving and how you are being and how you are thinking from this point on. But if we start with thinking, your mind can only pull in past experience. It can only pull in past evidence. So if you've always been broke, if you've always struggled with money, how the fuck can your mind actually generate wealth? It really can't. And it's always going to go back to its old neural pathway programmings, which is lack-based. We as a collective consciousness have been trained to be lack-based humans when we are abundant spiritual beings in a human body. And that's where we are experiencing so much friction, so much resistance, and so much disconnect. Because we're continuing to subscribe to a society and to a story that says we can't live our best lives unless we win the lottery. We can't become a millionaire unless we come up with this $1 million idea. We can't Like, there are so many limitations that exist in the world around money, and they all live in your mind. And that's why I struggled for so long to become financially free, even though I was learning from multimillionaires, even though I was taking all of the money programs, because I was living in my mind around money, and my mindset around money sucked, and my evidence around money sucked. So I couldn't be using my own evidence to build my own life. I had to actually change my frequency so that I could start cultivating a mindset that will support this new frequency. There's so many women right now that really are doing amazing things. They're starting their businesses. They're becoming creators. They're becoming healers. They're doing all this amazing work, and then they're not actually seeing the money that they desire in their business, because they're still operating from these thoughts of, I have to work really hard, or who am I to do this, or money's going to be so hard for me. And I have found across the board, just like Einstein said, is you can't solve a problem from the same frequency it's created. And that's what we're doing when we're doing money mindset courses. We're in the same lack-based frequency that caused all of the problems that we have around money. So we can't keep going about it the same way. And that's why it has taken me probably a decade now to even create a money program, because I was like, no, there is something missing. Like, there's something that isn't landing for me when I'm doing these teachings. And so now I know that my work is to fill in that gap, to help you actually have a supportive relationship with money so that you can actually become a wealthy woman who is living her best life, not waiting until you retire, not waiting until you get a big lump sum. Like, how can you start generating money now? How can you start operating on a wealth frequency now? How can you start moving as a wealthy woman now? Nothing about the past. Like, we're not going into the past in this program. And in all honesty, like, the fact that we're not going into the past, I'm going to show you how easily and how quickly you can actually rewire your brain, recode your cell, your DNA, regulate your nervous system when it comes to money quickly. Like, this isn't something that has to take a long time, which is why if you're on my email list, you should totally fucking jump in to the bundle that I sent you guys out, the quantum and currency bundle, because quantum's going to be all about the holographic universe, explaining all about quantum jumping, quantum manifestation, all of that, which is going to dissolve any limitations you have around money around time. And then currency is going to dissolve any limitations that you have around money, because the way that I'm teaching this is so different than the way that I have seen this taught before. And I have learned from I've learned from women who are called the money queen. You know what I mean? Like, I've learned from several women that call themselves that, even though I only think one is really the money queen. But anyway, I've learned from all of them, and while they were all valuable, there was still this disconnect. And it took me a long time to realize that it wasn't something wrong with me, and it wasn't necessarily something wrong with their teachings. It was just that I didn't have information that I needed in order to get to the frequency where I could embody wealth, where I could hold the wealth frequency, where I could operate and play from the wealth frequency. So if you are desiring to have a supportive relationship with money, if you are desiring to become financially free, if you are so sick of doing money mindset work, if you're so over having to live in lack and scarcity and fear and doubt and worry when it comes to money, like, it's the worst fucking feeling in the world, and I totally get it. So this is going to be a program that's going to set you free. It's going to allow you to have the most beautiful relationship with money, so that from this moment forward, you are going to embody a wealth frequency, and you're no longer going to be chasing money. You are going to be magnetizing money effortlessly, because you are going to be on the frequency that money plays on. And that is pure fucking magic. So if you have any questions, you can always DM me. If you want to jump into currency right now or quantum, you can go to my website. They're both on pre-sale. They'll be released in April and or May, depending on when they all come out. And if you're on my email list, I sent you a special code so that you can get this bundle, which is fucking insane, for only $500. Like, that's literally not even the cost of both of them on pre-sale, and both of them are going to go up probably like $1,000. So I'm doing this right now because I understand what it is like when you're struggling with money, and I know how difficult it can be when all you want is to have an abundant mentality, but it feels like you just can't even hold it if you tried. So I am giving you this program at a price that is just fucking insane, so that you can become wealthy and not have to put a lot of money in. So this is the benefits of being part of my email list and jumping into things early, because you're following the pull and you're always led to where you're meant to be. But are you willing to release the old stories? Or are you willing to show up differently? And the decision is always yours. All right, I love you guys so much. You can actually still get the bundle if you're not on my email list by clicking on my stories, or there is a newsletter highlight, and you can click on the email and you can read the actual email, and you can get the link to the bundle in there. So I'm not going to gatekeep on you. I love you guys so much, and I'm so fucking excited for these programs. Until next time, we'll talk soon.